when you want to get rid of, I hear someone saying, without hearing, I hear someone say, how do I get rid of all these tag lists that I'm now building? That is easy too, and it's a good segue for me to move to the next area that I want to show you about. Now we've seen a bit of the system itself. That is the data manager area. Now, if we go back into the main menu, the way to get to the main menu, two ways. Quick launch menu, this sort of T, it's more of an L on its side, icon will always take you back to the main menu, quick launch menu. Alternatively, a quicker step is to look for the icon along here. They're quite small, but you'll get used to looking for them on there. So I can see there's the filing cabinet, which is the same here as this filing cabinet, which is the data manager. So I'll click on data manager. And in data manager, I can manage all of the stocks that are in my system. The first thing is to note here that we have a list of all the stocks. So I can go up and down, and there they are. They're in various order. So if I click on the symbol, the word symbol, I can order it by alphabetical order of symbol. The numbers come first and then the letters. If I do it by description, I can do it in alphabetical order of the stock type. So I can look at indexes, or here groups, or stocks, etc. Or quite often what we want to do is look at it by market. When we look at it by market, we can then, for instance, if you want to look at London, they're all X, that's over the counter, etc., etc. It's New York. Keep going down until we get to LN, which is London. Now I can see all of my London stocks if I want to do it that way. So I can see all of the stocks that I've got in the system. If I want to see if I've got a stock anywhere, all I have to do is type the start of a symbol. So if I want to know if BME is in my database, I can type BM. I don't need to type BME. Just type BM and it'll take me to the BMs. I happen to be lucky there's only one BM. So you just type as many symbols as you know into it and it will take you to that symbol. Now BME, we can see here, is the European Value Retail B&M, which is some kind of ETF, I would guess. Let's look at BAE Systems, more of a regular stock. We can see here that we've got data. The first date of that data is 4th of January 2000, and the last date was 19th of March. So the first thing it says, look, we're updated. We've got 19th of March data in here pretty much. And it tells me I've got 20 years of data for BAE Systems. And you'll find older ones in there. There's zeros, 03s, 09s, and you'll find it going back 92s in some of them. They go back quite a long way, but normally around 20 years or less, depending on how long the stock's been in existence, obviously. Now, what one can do is to look at the stock. So if I double click on that stock, I can see that it's got a description. I can change the description if I want. And I can also do lots of different things to it. So I can look at, the thing I'm going to focus on here is the data. If I click on data, I can see the data for every day going back 20 years. If I actually move this down, I can see it's 2001. I can see all of the data, the opens, high, lows, close, and volume for every day since 2000, or since the data started. It's down here in 2001. I won't bore you to go down. 4th of January 2001. 2000. Great to see it, but sometimes it's really useful. This data is yours, remember, and you can actually take that data and correct it. Sometimes, quite often happens when you've got a charting package, you'll see what's called a spike. A spike is when there's been an abnormal price, quite often very far away from where the market is. Now sometimes it's a real spike in that someone really has paid over the odds for a stock. If you've got a fund which guarantees it'll have 63% of its stocks in the FTSE 100, and at the end of the month the FTSE has dived, and he wants to get stock in, he'll have to pay whatever it takes, and sometimes they do, pay over the odds and put a spike in the data. Sometimes someone manually puts a trade in and has what we call a fat finger and buys a stock in pounds instead of pence or something like that, so he's way away from the market. What happens then is he goes screaming to the operator of the market. They look at the stock, they speak to the buyer, and they speak to the seller, and they say, okay, we recognize this is a rogue, erroneous trade, we'll undo it, put it back to normal. The guy who put the trade in gets fired, of course, that's what they do, and then the system gets put right. Now, that can take days to happen. Meanwhile, you've got a bad tick on a stock, and a bad tick on a stock can create a flat line effect, because the scale that you're looking at a chart depends on all of the values of all of the entries in that chart. So to show everything in the chart, it has to scale down. So if you've got something that's like 1,000 times or 100 times as big as it should be, the chart's going to be 100th of the size, and it'll look like just a flat line. You won't be able to see anything. So it's important you get rid of any bad tick. So I can do that because I have control of the data. So here, for instance, I'm going to do it the other way around because it's there. Instead of 507.80, what happens if that was 1507.80? Okay, because there was a bad tick in there. I tick OK and get out of that stock. When I open that stock now, and if I, right click on that stock and chart ticker, that will take me to the chart for that ticker. And you now see what I was describing. We put something in that's way above the market, a bad tick, a spike, and it's made this flat line, so you actually really can't see what's going on. So if you get one of those, you want to deal with it as soon as you can without waiting for the vendor or waiting for the market to decide what's correct and then the vendor to correct his data. You could be several days down the road. So how do we fix that? Well, we know how to fix that. We go back to where we were before, into our BA systems. We noted that the date was today, so we go and look for the date, and here it is. Oh, there's a bad tick there, so I'm going to remove that 1,000, put that back to OK. Now when I chart ticker, boom, it's gone. That spike has gone, and now I've restored my chart. So you've got a great deal of flexibility because you've got the data to be able to give you the chart that's important for you. It actually does not so important what the high that day particularly was. Even if you don't know what the high was, you can set it to the same as the close. One day won't affect things because it's pretty close to the market. Where it will affect it if it's 1,000 away from the market or 100 away from the market. That really does make a problem for your chart. So correct it. You can always go back and update your data, and that's a good segue for me to take you now over to the next feature in the suite. Again, I'll go to your main menu and go into COM. COM is where you update your data. Now in the trial you won't use this. This is the only feature you won't actually use because you don't have a username and password. But if you are trading, you will if you have a subscription, you will go to setup options and then go to dial data, service dial data, setup, and input your credentials in here. Your user ID and your password, which you are given when you subscribe. That will enable you to update. So when you want to update, you go into data retrieval options. And here you have a whole bunch of options of how you can update. You can update the master list, which is everything in your system, or if you just want to be, you've just made an adjustment in a few stocks, or you just want to update quickly just one user list, you can do that. And here again, every one of your lists is available everywhere in the system. So if I just wanted to update, my gap ups for today, then I can do that too. If I want to just do a ticker, if I click on selected tickers, I can just update ticker A, for instance. And do I want to update it from last update? Typically, yes. The system knows, as I showed you in Data Manager, what the last date is that it's got data for. So it will only ask the servers for data after that date, from last update. However, where you've corrected a ticker, you might want to go back and reload some data, or you may have created some errors in your data by playing with it. So never worry, because you can always go and reload data. So you just go back from the date that you need to set it from or to, and reload the history for that particular stock, or for the whole excuse my expression, or for the whole master list if you like. Obviously it will take longer to update the whole master list than just one stock. Now you can update either immediately, or as I said before, you can set it to automatic. So by putting a time in there, I click in the app, putting a time in there, and then setting it to go automatic. I'll show you how to set it to go automatic afterwards. By putting a time in there though, and saving the setup, you will then automatically update your data. Again, there are provisos with updating your data automatically, that the machine has to be switched on, that it hasn't gone to sleep, and that you've got an internet connection. You don't need WinWay to be actually running at the time, but as long as your internet is connected and the machine's not asleep and awake, then you can update it. So you can update, these I would recommend everyone does, updates the groups and sectors each time so that the groups and sectors are kept intact, and to generate the reports every night as well. So that will generate every one of those 200 odd reports and recalculate them so that when you come in the morning, if you've done it at night, or even if you update during the day, which takes around 5 minutes to do for each day of update that you've got. So if you do it every day, it takes 5 minutes. You can also, under EDS post-processing, any reports that you want to run automatically, you can set to run automatically here. So if I add, there's nothing in there, I'm just going to take a random report. If I want it to run efficient stocks, I can open those. That efficient stocks EDS will now, because it's got a tick on it, I can disable it by disabling all, or enabling all. So that will now automatically run every night. So when I come in and open up that EDS report, it will have yesterday's data in it. Right, I won't go to updating those because that's the next step. Then is just to update, and you can update all of your stocks, one stock or whatever. Right, that's just going through here. Auto processing, you should have these all clicked as well, so that when a stock splits or a dividend comes out that affects the pricing of the stock, that your history is changed so you don't get any blips in your chart because, say, a stock has gone from $1 to 50 cents, but there are twice as many of them. Nevertheless, the chart will show 100 and then 50, and you'll think it's lost half its value. It hasn't. It's just been a split. So this takes care of that and adjusts your chart history so that it always looks like it was 50p. Oh, wait a minute. I had it clicked on at 12 o'clock. That's why I didn't update. Now it's gone to immediately. It will now update. Right, it's connecting with the server. It looks for who's there. It recognises me, and now it's updating the stock AA. There. This connects. transfer complete, so you know it's done, and we're done. So I updated AA. So that's how you update your data, either manually or automatically. Automatically, as I showed you, if you click on the @ button, you put the time you want to update, and then before you leave, set it to automatic update. To do that, in your main menu, in quick launch menu, under settings, go to timed update data retrieval. Okay, when there's a tick in there, it will update automatically at the time you've set it. Now be a little bit careful, because when you set that, and I now click on my COM or my data retrieval button, the system just minimizes itself. You can't open COM, it just minimizes. So if you saw it quickly, I'll do it one more time. It appears and then disappears and you think it's broken. But all that's happening there is it's saying, go away, I'm set to automatic, so you can't change me. So if you want to get back into COM, take the tick off, timed up data retrieval, and then when you click on COM, it will open up for you and give you access to it.